Hi, I want to do something for this new moon. Um, I think I wanted to talk about my MC in Virgo and do like this like video about MC in Virgo and the importance of this placement, but then I feel like it's not the right timing. I think I will do it soon, but not now. And I I find it very fun when it's like this. Like I feel a calling to do something. Like I really felt called to do Scorpio Rising update. And then I did a Scorpio Rising 2.0. And then I felt very drawn to do the moon, Pisces moon. And I did that recently. And now I feel very called to do Virgo MC. Ah, but that one, hmm, it is it is very important in my life, and it has been for a few years, since it has to do with my calling and my most visible part of myself in relation to the collective, because my MC is in the 11th 11th house, English. So, but I will not do that yet. I will do just a basic and general reminder of the Virgo archetype, I think. And this will be more general, like about the archetype of Virgo in honor for the new moon, but also the archetype. So I will talk about it very briefly and take with you what will, like whatever speaks to you. And I will frame this as a reminder of your thoughts, the importance of your thoughts. And to me, Virgo has everything to do with the mind body connection. And it's this like daily activities, like structuring and organizing, very Mercury, but to a point where it can become um, like manic, and to a sense where you worry about things, like you worry about things not being how you envision them. And also kind of like this control, but not like Scorpio rising, where it's more of this like general control of like process around you and not being able to receive and being like very strict in like an energetic sense. But when it comes to Virgo, it feels more like this like structuring, organizing, trying to control, or not control. The word control for me has been so like Scorpio rising in my mind that control doesn't really resonate for Virgo, but maybe organized, and organized in a sense that it's like compartmentalizing everything and thinking about everything in like a linear fashion. This to me feels very like Virgo. And that can become a bit mm, dysfunctional if, because to me, like Virgo is this, the formation of the ego starting to analyze and use logic to predict their outcome, like the ego formation. But when it comes to wrapped up in the organizing and compartmentalizing, it can become fearful. And in a sense that I have to open my heart a bit here. And I have so much dog hair on my shirt. I don't know if the camera picks it up. Okay. So the critic, that is the word, the Virgo archetype, since it is so concerned with organizing and compartmentalizing and trying to figure out its outcome, it's also this kind of like part of the psyche that becomes resistant if things don't turn out as the ego plans. So that would mean that we worry about something or try to compartmentalize and plan for our daily habits. And if it doesn't turn out like how we hoped, we can start to blame others or blame ourselves. And this is where I think the perfectionist comes in when it's about Virgo, because that is a very big shadow for Virgo. And this has its purpose. Just for Scorpio, I take Scorpio as like a parallel because I do think a lot of people that watch my videos found me through Scorpio rising. So it's also interesting for me, since I am Scorpio rising, to talk about Scorpio in relationship to it. But Scorpio rising is more this like just existential fear driving its search for control. But Virgo is more of this like distrust of its surrounding. Maybe that is a good distinction. That it's always on edge and trying to plan and discern. And why the ego does this, it is a distrust towards well, I would say other people and like their surrounding and God and so on. But the shadow here, because all of the zodiac signs in its shadow forms, I've come to terms with like the shadow sides of it. It's always separation from the soul. So it's the ego going about life by itself and trying to do everything alone, and that creates fear. So the fear part, because I do think and really think about life in like the ego is driven from fear, and the soul is love. So it comes through all of the different zodiac signs, but just with a different perspective and focus and like drive towards exploring it in a different way. But so the shadow side here can be for a Virgo of not having things in the linear logical way that the Virgo wants it to be. It becomes this blame game of blaming others or blaming itself. And then it becomes this like kind of like darkness energy. I feel like this like being very critical and blaming the self, and just like like not evil. I would not say evil because I don't really see evil as I think majority of people see it. I see it as it is fear. But it's this like, I think like a picture a dark cloud, and it just generates more and more and more negativity. And this in myself, because I do have Chiron in Virgo and MC in Virgo, so it feels very familiar. This cloud of perfectionism and separation and just like wanting things to be in a very linear way, the shadow side of Virgo. I think this is the archetype of the inner critic. And for me, this feels very true. It might be a bit different for other people, I'm not sure. But everything on this channel, I'm just talking about my own experience. So if it resonates, I love when people reflect back that it also feels like something that happens for them. And I can feel this, like, I think that is my Aquarius like drive, that when I see it reflected, my truth in others, it gives me the sense of belonging to humanity, and I feel very seen and not alone. And my Chiron and Virgo planets are in the 11th house of the collective. So it is very nice. I love when you comment. So please do. Okay, so it's this inner critic voice in its shadow. It's this like dark kind of shadow side of the ego here. And the reason, or like the why of this shadow, is discernment. It's being in integrity, and the purpose of why it's even there in the first place is kind of like this like cleansing thing that needs to happen for a Virgo to come out of really like the illusion of the ego having the control. And here, for me, it's been very nice to go through the Virgo, like the perfectionism, the shadow things of Virgo, but come out of it on the other side, which I see as being of service. And this like recognition of that there is something bigger. I think that is like the antidote for Virgo in its shadow. Because what is really fueling the shadow is this illusion that the ego is in control of everything. So I've recently been very into exploring my spirituality through the seven sins from the Bible. And I've even done like a course on this for myself that I'm really thinking of releasing to this channel in the future, maybe. I'll see. But exploring those, I might also do like a video on this because it's very interesting. But for me, when I started to explore the first sin of pride and the virtue of humility, it felt very like Virgo energy here. Like the pride being that I don't need anyone else, I can do it by myself, and this like kind of like arrogance, believing that it's bigger than life itself. Just like this the illusion of the ego. And then humility being the reality check of I can't do this alone. And to me it feels very much like this is what I've been talking about, like this like the mind's like belief that it has to organize and structure and think of everything logically, and then like when it's just in its own energy and believing that it's like I think maybe like inflating the ego, it like starts to become this like dark energy. And what can help here is like the humility of realizing I'm just a human incarnating in one soul's expression, and then realizing and aligning yourself to something bigger, and that like really humbles you. And then like transforming this, when you put the humility lens over the Virgo problems, it's also this relief that happens of the perfectionism. It's not as deep, if you understand what I'm saying here. Like you kind of like zoom out, you get perspective. Because if you have a very strong inner critic, if you are very perfectionistic, it can feel like everything is so serious and so important and you have to do it perfectly. And if you don't, then you criticize yourself. And if you get this humility, like a reality check, you realize that I'm just a person learning. Like I can't do everything 100% straight away. And it's this like humbling, compassionate, kind of just like realizing where you are and who you are. And it's not like looking down on yourself and thinking that other people are above you. It's not that at all. So maybe exploring this in yourself could be something nice to do, because it's very real with the inner critic for a Virgo. Yeah. I also want to talk about a bit the mind-body connection and how it is also so connected to health. I think this is where we start to, because I I associate Virgo to like kind of these people that worry about their health, and they eventually attract diseases because they think about it so much. They are in this worrying energy. And this is where the people with Virgo energy realize that there is something to this. And that is, I think this is so beautiful, because it's this like collective trauma that we have towards not trusting the body, not being okay with our bodily instincts, and the separation that happens between the body and mind, that's been through like so many years in humanity, with like religion being affecting this wound that we're ashamed of our sexuality and our bodies, and trying to tame the instincts and seeing them as bad, have really created the separation. And when I would say in this context that the Virgo is very much like the mind, trying to figure out, like analyzing, thinking, the linear thoughts, and like improving and improving. And the too muchness of the mind creates a disharmony in the body, which forces the Virgo. This feels very like, I know this, and I should have, I feel like I should have opened up with this, because this is like the important bit of Virgo, I feel. The too much of the mind forces the Virgo down to the body, because they realize that they don't have a choice. They need to include the body in their healing journey in order for it to go forward, in order to be complete as a human. We can't continue on with just the mind. And this can be in different ways. For me personally, it was through having eating disorder. And that really forced me to realize the disconnect that's happened between my mind and body. It can be through like pain, having a lot of pain, like chronic pain, having diseases, because everyone says this now, but I love that it's like common knowledge now, like is this ease. So not being in this harmony, this ease of the flow of life, and not working with nature. And we can bring in that it's also, Virgo is a earth element. So it's all about the practical 3D world. And it really has to do with like including the body in the experience, and realizing that it's the vessel that's been neglected. And I think also something very Virgo is then realizing that you are setting an example for the majority of people. I would say the biggest thing, like on a collective scale, is the war between the sexes. Like you can see it in, okay, now I'm going off topic a bit, but okay. The divide between the masculine and the feminine, not trusting each other, and that comes from like a distrust towards the feminine for a long time, the suppression, And then we have the Black Moon Lilith archetype, and that's the whole thing. And we have that distrust between the body and mind that is, I feel, very Virgo and very important, like really important. So if you have Virgo and if this resonates, like please take this as a, oh, I can feel this very deeply. Take this as like encouragement, like please, your work is needed. Whatever you have in your heart that is like a very Virgo-esque gift, like something to do with the body mind connection, like please put it out into the world. It's so needed. There's so many people with health issues, with pains, like it just continues on. And it's this distrust between the mind and body, and like the body's aching. It's really like needing to be integrated into the collective again. We need that merging. We need to be like more complete as a human species. And I feel like this is Virgo. Oh, yeah. I'm very curious because this archetype of Virgo, I don't feel like I've heard this kind of take on it that much. So I'm interested to know if it resonates for you, and please share if it does. And I really also invite you to explore. I actually got an email. I don't know if I should say this. Yeah, okay. I got an email from someone that follows me about the importance of Virgo, like particularly from tomorrow when it's the new moon, but also moving forward for a bit now. And that kind of sparked this like wanting even more to do something now with the new moon, because I really thought about doing the MC, Virgo in MC, for a few days now. And then I got that email and I thought, okay, I really want to like tap into the Virgo energy here. So if you also have Virgo very importantly in your chart, then feeling into this energy now and setting intentions tomorrow in the new moon. And yeah, Virgo is, it's beautiful. It's really like this, like you hear it all the time, like this cleansing energy, like this healing, just removing the darkness, the shadows, like this discerning energy. And I think perfect balance happens when you have that service mindset, when you realize you are part of a bigger picture and working for the collective as like from humility. That I really resonate with the concept of humility, and not again in a sense that I'm worth nothing compared to other people, like in a sense that it's like from this place of love and not needing external validation, because that is something that's been very important for me as a Virgo MC. Like I've had real troubles with like perfectionism in, well, YouTube, for example. I have that strong inner critic saying that it's not good enough. Like, don't, like, you said this, or you took a pause, or whatever. And then moving from that, like the perfectionism, to realizing if I just have the perspective that I want to be of service and it might resonate for someone, then it's everything that I want and need. Because if you have that impossible standard of, you have this vision of how it should look, and you always compare yourself to that, you will never reach that and you will never do anything. So you have to be vulnerable and okay with learning by doing, and not listen to that inner critic and perfectionist, and do it anyway from that place of love and wanting to contribute. So I think this is what I wanted to talk a bit about today, and I really invite you to share if you feel this. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.